By now, I'll assume that most of you know what's going on with this case, but for those who don't, a young black man died on the water in Mississippi, and before the family could even finish planning a funeral, the cameras were already there. Not just the cameras, the same names that keep showing up every time a story needs a certain shape, you know, the Al Sharptons and now the Ben Crumps. I'm not here to tell you how to feel about Nolan Wells. I'm here to look at what is being done with his parents' pain while the facts are still unfinished. So let's watch how this unfolds.
My initial thoughts was like once Al Sharpton got involved, and I'm like, Al Sharpton did the eulogy? Didn't make sense to me. And now when I see them flying to Chicago and Ben Crump, it's like, doesn't make sense to me. And I don't see a local minister. It makes me, and I know we got to be careful with speculation, but it's like, hey, did they have a church home? Did they have any elder ministerial figure? It just seems like they seem to be homeless spiritually, because at some point you would just think they would have some local minister that was a part of this, and I just don't see that.
Grief can be an amplifier of all sorts of emotions and behaviors. If you've looked at any public, highly publicized funeral in the last year, you've seen that grief can do that. And there's judgment from all sides. You know, people are saying, well, this person should behave this way. They shouldn't behave that way. You know, they should be. I try to reserve a lot of that and just hold on to the fact, and you quoted the verse in Romans where Paul says, you know, rejoice with those who rejoice, but weep with those who weep.
They got this 18-year-old son, and they got all these dreams for him, and they envisioning him going out into the world. This is the arrow that they've shot into the world, and at 18 years old, it's gone. That arrow's gone. And one of the things I think you can do in the grieving process is like, man, my son was going to have an impact on this world. How can I add additional meaning to his life now that he's been taken from me at 18? And I think Al Sharpton and Ben Crump have played on that. Oh, we know how we can get your son meaning, and his name will stand the test of time, and he will be a voice for other people. Maybe your son wasn't wrongly killed, but these other guys that have been wrongly killed, your son can be a voice for them and get justice for them. That's how we give your son's life meaning, and they're going for it right now.
That's highly, I mean, that's very possible in this situation. And as you lay it out, look at what that could do. There are parents who have to sit with the accidents that happen. We don't hear about them because they're local news. We don't hear about all the ones that are said, hey, you know what, we're sorry. You know, we've done the investigation. They just drowned, and they have to just sit with. But here's an avenue to where, because of the heat of the moment, okay, we can get some national eyes on this. And this will kind of soothe that ache of grief.
So Whitlock is right about the timing. The parents are still in the early days of losing their son, and already the national figures have arrived to give the death a bigger meaning. That's not comfort, that's positioning. When the same people who need a story to stay racial show up this fast, the family stops being a family and starts becoming a platform. That's a heavy thing to do to people who just want their child back. Now watch how the race language continues even after the independent autopsy refused to give them what they wanted.
What Ben Crump is going to do is latch on to, you see, they can't rule it out. They can't rule it out. At the end of the day, consistently throughout this independent autopsy report, it was concluded that the body was decomposed to the point where they could not really tell what happened in a lot of instances. There was decomposition. And it's very common for certain things not to be included with the body for the second autopsy. These are common practices. So I don't want, you're going to get these wokey-wokes, these Ugh, these irritating liberals, Lord mercy. They're going to get on here and cling on to that part and not even focus on the part where it said it's just inconclusive. We can't tell what happened. We don't know the contents of his stomach. We don't know there was massive decomposition, making it difficult for us to determine exactly what happened. Also, they do not have the results of the toxicology, which means how much blood, not blood, but how much alcohol was in Nolan because he was drinking. Okay, drinking and water don't go good together. Okay, so let's just remember these were underage people who were drinking and they were around water. Okay, we don't know if he fell, hit his head, or we just don't know, or if that discoloration was just from decomposition. Sometimes it's decomposition. I want everybody to get their head on straight with this now. Don't go running to the hills saying it's racism because it's Mississippi. Y'all know what they did to Emmett Till. Now, I said what I said. It is inconclusive. Now, they still going to keep pushing this thing, and this is being Crump. He's going to latch on. He's saying it's something else to it. It's something else to it. But you guys watch Brandon Tatum's interview of the friends. There's a friend named Warren. I watched that this morning before this live stream. And Warren, Nolan's friend, seems extremely credible and extremely honest. I don't see anything in the eyes that makes me think he's not being truthful.
The autopsy came back undetermined. No fractures, no clear trauma, no foul play. Foul play not ruled out, rather, but also not proven. And still the same rhetoric. This is the part that should bother anybody who actually cares about the truth, right? When the evidence stays open, some people treat that openness like permission to keep the racial temperature high. The facts didn't move. The language didn't either. That tells you what the priority actually is. They kept calling Horn Island secluded. Brandon Tatum, he went there himself.
This is where the lie started. But we're at Horn Island in almost the exact same position where the boys were, where Nolan was. So if you look out right here, just so you guys can get a perspective, you have the Horn Island here. But I want you guys to put this in your mind, what this was like on that day. You have boats 2, 3, 4 deep from way down there where you can see all the way through here. You have thousands of people on this island, probably 2,000 people. So this wasn't some abandoned, secluded island where nobody's at. But on 4th of July, this is a celebration. And so this wasn't a small place where 4 boys took their black friend and dropped him off and never seen him again. This place was flooded with people. Tons of people, multiple boats, multiple friend groups. I mean, everybody's here having a good time. And then the boat gets towed out because it was getting ready to sink. And so, and from what I was told, they told Nolan, get on the boat, man, get on the boat. Get on the freaking boat. And he decided, because he's an adult, that he was gonna stay behind. And all the boys that they've been accusing, and they saying it had something to do with his death, they were all gone at 4:30. They were all gone. And they told Nolan to get on the boat, he didn't. And then there was a report of somebody seeing Nolan around 6:30-ish. This is where the lie started. If anything would have happened directly involving Nolan and his friends, you can't tell me that thousands of people wouldn't have seen anything happen. This is what they want you to believe it was like on that day, which is a lie. They want you to believe they came to a secluded island, just 4 of them, and then Nolan is left behind, and then his body's washed up on shore, and nobody knows what happened. Nobody could have seen what happened but the boys. It's a flat-out lie.
So, 2,000 people, boats everywhere, 4th of July. It's not a deserted shoreline where a young man gets left with no witnesses. That is a holiday crowd. When the story needs isolation to work, the crowd becomes inconvenient. So the crowd gets erased from, the telling. You cannot claim the island was empty while the island was full and still call it honest reporting. Same day, same group of friends, The phone question keeps getting raised like it's suspicious. Here's the young man who was actually there.
Typical for people to have their phones, or?
No, I mean, people come out here, especially on the 4th and, Memorial Day, days like that, they come out here to celebrate, and people get on the water to be off their phones, first off. Second off, if I'm sitting waist deep in water, and all my friends are, everybody's leaving their phone on a boat, in a lake, if you're sitting on a pond, and no one's getting out of the water with their phone in their hand, unless, it's to take a quick picture. But most of the pictures taken on the 4th of July were on the boat.
Yeah.
I mean, and, salt water, if you drop your phone in salt water, most of the time you're not going to get it back. Yeah. I mean, especially the water's murky right now because there's been a lot of rain. You can't see, the visibility isn't good. The water isn't clear like it was last year around this time. And, no one has their phone, though, usually. I mean, unless you're crazy, I'm not walking around with my phone in my hand. They've been walking around Horn Island,
How many people left the phone on the boat? Was it just his phone when y'all left, or
right.
Did other people have phones on the boat?
Absolutely not. Like, there was at least, I rode out here on a different boat, like I told you, and I grabbed my phone when I left the Palm Beach to get on the boat with Triton. To get on the boat with Wyatt because we were having, boat issues. And when I got on the boat, there was phones everywhere on the console. Everywhere. There was everybody's phone that was sitting around the boat was on the console. Like, we had phones that we didn't even know whose they were, you know?
So, people swimming. Why is my hair like that? I'm going to leave it like that, too. People swimming. Phones left on a boat. And we know now that that's not a conspiracy. That is how every group of young people acts when they hit the water on a holiday, is what he's saying. Saltwater ruins phones. Okay. Visibility was low. Nobody's walking around waist deep holding a device. The moment you turn normal behavior into evidence of guilt, you're no longer investigating. You're kind of just writing a script looking for actors, if you ask me. Now, this one right here is a lengthy one. I think I should go ahead and actually speed it up a bit, if I'm being honest. Let me speed it up. But I want you to look at the timing of Crump's announcement itself.
I watched Nolan Wells' autopsy report and press conference today, and here are the biggest takeaways. And I'm going to be honest, I probably have more questions after listening to autopsy report. So I called up a few of my clients that are physicians and specifically forensic pathologists, and wanted to make sure that I had a clear understanding before I called y'all so we could talk about this. So first of all, this report was done by Dr. Roger Mitchell, and he is very decorated, very esteemed. I mean, this is the best of the best. He is a physician. He is a board certified forensic pathologist. He is president of the National Medical Association. He has over 2 decades of experience. He also was the president of Howard University Hospital, chair of the Department of Pathology. He was a chief medical examiner for Washington, D.C. for multiple years. So this is creme de la creme, okay? And thank God and kudos to Colin Kaepernick for covering the feed for this independent autopsy for Nolan's families, for his parents, Christina and Elmore. So major things that were discussed. And side note, if you want to see the whole entire press conference and the entire autopsy report, you can go to Ben Crump's website. Also, I'm a Lemonhead, so you can go on YouTube and go to Don Lemon's page and look underneath the lives, and you'll see it posted there. The cause of death is pending investigation. It's still undetermined. The date of death is unknown. Second autopsy was performed on July 10th of 2026, and these findings were presented on July 19th, okay? There is an area in the back of Nolan's head, 12 by 8 centimeters, around the occipital bone that is not normal. It's definitely a cause for further investigation. They also mentioned that it's hard to determine how that red mark was there because Nolan's body was so decomposed, it would be hiding any bruising on the skin. Dr. Roger Mitchell examined everything: legs, arms, buttocks, back of the head, back of the neck, shoulders, elbows, knees, toes. I mean, everything. Well, everything that he had, because the state of Mississippi did not send Nolan's neck. Inferior neck components were missing. So like larynx, thyroid, esophagus, which I know they said it's common practice for those things to be removed. It's also, though, just odd to me because this is, the state of Mississippi is claiming that Nolan drowned. And it seems that they would have wanted to share those things or share those findings with Dr. Roger Mitchell, who is doing the second autopsy. The client explained to me that we have a bone here that's called like the hyoid bone. And if you are strangled, this bone breaks and that is what kills you. So, my client was like, it is very concerning and very suspicious that the medical examiners in Mississippi have not sent that and have not sent their information pertaining to everything with the neck. Only was it impossible for Dr. Mitchell to complete the autopsy of the neck because he did not have the neck. Mississippi didn't send it to him. He also could not observe the lungs for water and the stomach gastric contents, which from what I understand is very important to trying to figure out what was the state of Nolan's body when it entered the water. Basically, was Nolan conscious or unconscious, because it's well known that Nolan was able to swim. Ben Crump let it be known that they have received multiple calls letting them know that Nolan's body was not waterlogged. However, Dr. Mitchell, who's conducting the independent autopsy, can't confirm that because, again, he has not had an opportunity to perform an autopsy on Nolan's neck. All of that being said, Dr. Roger Mitchell said that he cannot rule out foul play, and so there needs to be further investigation and further expansion he feels would be appropriate in front of a grand jury. The big questions that are currently outstanding: number one, how did Nolan Wells enter the water? Number two, what was his body position when Nolan was found? Number three, was there water in Nolan's airway? Number four, were there any injuries to the anterior neck? Number five, did Nolan get that intracranial injury, or is this just some type of post-mortem area that blood flowed to? Six, what was the composition of Nolan's stomach contents? Seven, what are the toxicology report findings? Because Mississippi still has not turned those over yet, or I guess they haven't been completed. And from what I understand, toxicology reports can take anywhere from weeks to months. And during the press conference, they did not give an ETA concerning the toxicology report. Now, I have my own thoughts. I have my own concerns. I have my own questions, especially when we're looking at reports, the official reports that are coming out of Mississippi compared to additional information that is now coming out. It's a lot of inconsistencies. Even in the report that when Nolan's body was found by the Coast Guard, that he was fully clothed, and we saw multiple pictures of Nolan in his swim trunks that day. Y'all know the GPS of the boat was showing a lot of back and forth from land and then back out to Horn Island. There's just a whole multitude of things, and I'm hoping that Mississippi is going to cooperate and coordinate with Dr. Mitchell and his team. But, we'll see what happens, y'all.
The second autopsy findings out early, huh? The other side now knows exactly what the independent exam could and could not see. That is not how you protect a case, right? That is how you hand the other side a map of the gaps, really. If the goal is truth for the family, you wait. If the goal is pressure and narrative, you talk. That difference definitely matters, y'all. And the second, the internet does what it always does. Ooh, it gets crazy. So watch how far the story gets stretched.
I just watched that big Crump autopsy, man. Yo, man. All of y'all involved is gonna burn in hell, bro. All of y'all involved gonna burn in hell, bro. You mean to tell me they can't determine the cause of death because y'all still got his motherfucking throat? The medical examiner in Mississippi, she sent everything to the other. She sent his entire body to do the second autopsy. Everything but his fucking throat. But they see there's blunt trauma force in the back of the head. Now they can't even check the airway to determine if it was drowning or not. And it wasn't drowning. Because if it was drowning, his throat would have been with his body. Who the fuck gave you the authorization to take the fucking throat, bro? What kind of fucking shit is that? And the reason why they took it is because that was the cause of death. They strangled him. They hit him in the back of the head. They either hung him or strangled him, and they threw him on that fucking island. Like he wasn't worth a fucking damn. And that's fucked up, man. That's why his friends wasn't at the fucking funeral. Talk about some death threats. The reason why they receiving death threats is because they did some shit they had no business fucking doing to somebody they considered a fucking friend. Cause if that's my motherfucking friend, no matter what, I'm gonna be in that goddamn funeral. Cause that's my motherfucking friend that's getting laid down. I don't give a damn about a death threat. Take me out too, nigga. Cause that's my motherfucking friend. That's how I would've went down. But they ain't go down like that. They lawyered up and now they on podcasts doing interviews. Like they some motherfucking celebrities. God, that shit got me hot this morning.
Okay, so the caption comes with Nolan Wells' parents didn't want to make it about race, but his throat and lung were missing to hide the evidence. Black people, keep your kids away from these white friends. Protect your children. So missing throat, missing lung, hide the evidence. Keep your kids away from the white friends. This is the final form of the narrative when it's allowed to run without restraint. The independent pathologists already explained that certain structures are routinely retained for further testing. The explanation does not travel as far as the accusation. So the accusation wins the algorithm, and the parents get left holding a story that is bigger and uglier than the evidence they actually have. So Nolan Well parents lost their son, man. That should have been the center of everything. Instead, the center became the opportunity. There's a machine that runs on unfinished Black Death. It needs the cause to stay open. It needs the racial framing to stay loud. It needs the parents to stay available for the cameras. The longer the answers stay incomplete, the longer the machine keeps the lights on. This is not just justice, it's inventory. A grieving mother and father should not have to share the pain with people who already know how they're going to use it. They should not have to watch their child's name become the latest example in somebody else's argument. They should be allowed to bury their son without becoming a symbol first. The facts may still come, the toxology may still speak, but the way this has already been handled tells you what certain people value more than the family's quiet. So, I want you to type the word parents in the comments if you believe the family deserve better than this circus. And if you want something to sit with after this video ends, here go a scripture for you. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. This is Psalms 34:18. Be safe. Go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.